What if someone could guide your decisions in a conversation without you ever noticing you'd been led there? Most people think hypnosis means a swinging pendulum, a trance, losing control of your own mind. But psychiatrist Milton Erickson, the pioneer of modern hypnotherapy, proved that the most powerful form of influence happens while you're wide awake, in completely ordinary conversation. It's not magic and it's not mind control. It's a set of language patterns that quietly bypass critical thinking, and you've probably had them used on you already without ever noticing. Here are 5 conversational hypnosis techniques, each backed by real psychology research. Once you know what to watch for, you'll start recognizing exactly when someone is using them in real time. The first technique is the embedded command. Erickson's method, later documented by linguists Richard Bandler and Grinder, involves hiding a subtle instruction inside an ordinary sentence using a slight shift in tone or emphasis on certain words. A sentence like, "I'm not going to tell you to trust me on this," sounds completely normal. But if "trust me" gets a subtle downward emphasis, the conscious mind hears a casual remark while the instruction slips past underneath it. Listen for sentences where a few specific words get unusual vocal stress. That emphasis is often doing more work than the sentence itself. But the next technique doesn't hide a command. It hides the fact that you ever had a choice at all. The second technique is the double bind, one of Erickson's most well-documented methods. Instead of asking an open question like, "Will you help me?" which leaves room for a flat no, a double bind offers 2 options that both lead to the same outcome. Would you rather help me today or first thing tomorrow? The mind focuses on choosing between the 2 choices it was handed, and the option to simply decline never gets considered. Watch for moments when someone hands you 2 choices that both happen to benefit them. The real question, whether you wanted to do this at all, was never actually asked. The next technique works differently. It builds trust first, then quietly redirects it. The third technique is pacing and leading. Arguably, Erickson's most foundational method. It works in 2 steps. First, pacing, stating things that are obviously undeniably true. You're sitting here, you're listening. You've been thinking about this. Each true statement earns a small unconscious agreement. Once several of these land in a row, the brain settles into a pattern of saying yes. Then comes leading, a new suggestion slipped in right after the agreements, while that yes pattern is still running. If you notice someone stating several obvious facts you agree with right before they ask you for something specific, that sequence isn't random. The agreement was the setup. The next technique doesn't use words at all. It uses silence. The fourth technique is strategic silence. Research on conversational turn-taking, including work by sociologist Emanuel Shegloff on the structure of dialogue, shows that humans experience measurable discomfort during unexpected pauses in conversation. Even gaps as short as a few hundred milliseconds register as awkward. After asking a pointed question, a skilled communicator will simply stop talking and hold eye contact, letting the silence stretch. The discomfort builds until the other person feels compelled to fill it, often saying more than they intended, over-explaining or agreeing just to end the tension. If a silence after a question feels unusually long and deliberate, that's not nervousness. It's a tool and it's working on you, not them. And the final technique doesn't happen in what's said at all. It happens in the body. The fifth and final technique is the mirror effect. In a landmark 1999 study, psychologists Tanya Chartrand and Bargh at New York University found that people unconsciously mimic the posture, gestures, and speech patterns of those they genuinely like, and discovered something even more striking. When someone deliberately mirrors another person's body language, that person reports liking them more and becomes measurably more agreeable, without ever realizing why. If you notice someone's posture, gestures, or even speaking pace gradually starting to match yours during a conversation, that's not coincidence. It's a documented influence technique, operating below conscious awareness. Once you start noticing these 5 techniques, embedded commands, the double bind, pacing and leading, strategic silence, and mirroring, conversations stop feeling random. You start hearing the structure underneath the words, not so you can use it against people, so you can finally see when it's being used on you. If this changed how you'll listen to your next conversation, subscribe. Next video reveals how to read anyone instantly, without saying a single word.